How's it going, everybody? This is Top Driver. Hope you're having another great day. And yes, obviously, I have gotten rid of the mullet. I know it was going for a little while. I know you guys enjoy it, but at some point it had to go, as well as the beard. So sorry, guys, but it had to happen. But anyways, welcome back to another video. Alright, with this being the last video before Christmas, I'm going to do a little story time. However, not just any regular story. This one is about the mystery of Santa Claus. Now, obviously, during Christmas, obviously the theme of this is that you end up getting Christmas presents underneath your Christmas tree, and the purpose of this is that they are delivered by Santa Claus while you are sleeping in between the midnight hours of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But there's still a lot of mystery surrounding about this guy, and whether or not it is actually real. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about what I think about this, as well as a little bit about why this is such a mystery still today. Now, obviously, the holiday spirit is punctuated on December 25th with Christmas Day, which is obviously one of the most celebratory holidays of the year, if not the most celebratory, because this is obviously the day in which everybody gets to spend some time with their families, gather around the campfire, or maybe even a bonfire if you have one, and also just open up a whole lot of presents, obviously. Just celebrate the spirit of Christmas, and also just relive everything that happened this year and make your preparations for 2024, which is the very next year. But there are also a lot of times in which we also talk a little bit about Santa Claus. Of course, obviously, he plays a major factor in regards to Christmas. Now, obviously, this is a part of Christian lore, obviously. Santa Claus is mostly known for delivering Christmas presents in between the hours of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day while everybody is sleeping during the night. And obviously, he has his real list, you know. Those that deserve them are obviously those that have done good deeds, and then those that don't, they get a lump of coal and are listed as naughty, obviously. But a lot of debate has still been talked about in regards to whether or not this guy is actually real, and whether or not everything that we've seen in the movies, everything we've heard, everything we've read about, everything about him and the North Pole is true. Now, of course, the reason why I also say this is because we don't really know if there really actually is a Santa's workshop at the actual North Pole. We know that the North Pole is obviously right near the top of the Northern Hemisphere, obviously, and of course, that's where all the stories are talked about in regards to the origination of Santa's workshop taking place. Of course, 364 days a year in which Christmas presents are obviously being prepared, and also, you know, just gathering a list of everybody that has been good that year, and of course, everybody that has been naughty as well. And so, obviously, you know, all of that actually is talked about in all of these stories. But again, we already know that there's a North Pole out there. Is there really a Santa's workshop there? I know there's Santa's workshops obviously around New York, obviously during this time of year. There's also a few other places in America, but in regards to the actual North Pole, I have looked it up on Google, and I seem to struggle to find out whether or not there actually really is a North Pole there, obviously. I mean, I speculate that it is. It's just that I can't really find it on Google, obviously, because it's really hard to pinpoint where in the North Pole it actually does exist. And that seems to be a problem nowadays with those that we grow older. Obviously, I know that kids will obviously wish that there is a North Pole. Trust me, I would really love to see if there is a Santa's workshop there at the North Pole. But it's just really hard to pin down whether or not it really is true, or whether or not it's just something that, you know, is obviously just a real part of the story, obviously. We just have no idea. But still, we already know that there's a speculation that there's a Santa's workshop there. And then for at least 364 days a year, up until Christmas Day, obviously the work is that there are a bunch of elves that work for him, and obviously they're preparing all the Christmas presents, all that stuff, in preparations for Christmas Day, which is obviously this upcoming Monday. And obviously while that's going on, Santa's in his workshop, obviously checking lists in regards to seeing who's actually doing good, obviously, you know, obviously doing a lot of good deeds, you know, make sure they're making a good impact on the world, and absolutely all of that stuff. You know, those are the people that are more likely to get gifts. And yes, in case you're wondering, it's not just kids, it's also adults as well. Those that, you know, have done well at the office space as well. And obviously those that have really done very bad, especially, you know, like criminal activity, or just, you're just plain bad as a result, you know. You don't have to do anything real specific. You just have like a bad attitude or something like that. You will actually have a list there to make sure that, you know, obviously those that happen bad, they don't get anything other than a lump of coal. The problem is we don't really exactly know, you know, who can be good and who can be naughty. I mean, you can really be good for an entire 364 days of the year, or maybe it's just, you know, like 363 or something like that, and yeah, it's just that one day in that entire year that something bad happens and you end up in the naughty list for no apparent reason, and you end up getting a lump of coal. I don't really find that fair or something like that. But still, even then, when you're good for 364 days a year and you do everything right, you still have no idea if you're actually going to get a Christmas present, because obviously it's such a mystery that, you know, it's really hard to solve. whether or not you're going to get something good or you're just not going to get anything in your Christmas stocking by the time Christmas Day comes along. By the way, during that time, obviously, Santa's checking everything. He's making sure that everybody is doing well, and obviously is doing what they have to do to be able to get a Christmas present. And then obviously, come Christmas Eve, that's when he sets off. Obviously, he goes out everywhere around the world, across North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and as well as Australia and all that stuff. He's going to every single household there is in the world to make sure that those that have been good this year, he flies all the way down their chimneys to make sure that they give them their Christmas presents. And obviously, he does that all the way until he gets to the very last household, and then he spends the rest of his Christmas Day back at home with his family and elves, and obviously, the whole process starts all over again. The reason why it's such a mystery, though, is, as I mentioned before, obviously, we don't know if there actually is a Santa's workshop for real in the North Pole. We don't know if that's really real or if that's just part of an urban myth. But the other thing is that we always talk about how Christmas is supposed to be about the celebration of Jesus Christ and obviously Christians and all that stuff. But still, Santa Claus, this is another thing that the kids obviously love to enjoy. I know that, at malls, at other places as well, there will be an area set up where, kids can really speak to Santa Claus, ask them what they want for Christmas. The only problem is that's not actually the real Santa Claus. That's just somebody dressed up as Santa Claus. That's, it's just making kids happy and all that stuff. We don't know if there actually is a real Santa Claus. No amount of film watching, obviously, like Elf and all that stuff, all those Santa Claus movies and all that stuff. Yes, it may give us the real belief that Santa Claus is real and that Santa's workshop is out there. But then again, until you look it up on Google or maybe, just do some fact searching and all that stuff, you really don't know if that's just the truth or if this is just an urban myth or something like that. And again, we all know that those films can say one thing, but it's really different that once you talk about Santa Claus in real life. I say that because obviously when we wake up on Christmas Day, and this is real obviously, we all experience this, that, the night before Christmas, obviously there's almost nothing underneath that Christmas tree. And then we wake up in the morning, obviously the Christmas gifts, they are there. And there are usually like loads of them. A lot of them will have your name on it, and obviously that's just one feeling that makes us believe that Santa Claus is real. But that's really the only actual example that we get in regards to Santa Claus being real. We still have trouble figuring out other reasons to why, as we should believe, that he should be real. One of the things that we usually were talking about is, if we were to have like a video camera on us, obviously, we probably just put that on the table, obviously, and just, record everything, Obviously, we have to make those Santa cookies for Santa Claus because we all know Santa loves to take a quick break to obviously munch on some cookies and then also sip on that milk and all that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, maybe there's just one thing, you absolutely want to have like a plate of cookies and then some milk with you. Put it on the table and then obviously maybe have your camera out recording while you're sleeping, so that way maybe you can catch them and see if that actually is real. But even then, we don't know that because obviously Santa Claus, he may just go like rapid speed, maybe do it quickly, just gobble up all those things like literally before the camera even gets a chance to take a look at it, or maybe the battery runs out or something like that. Unless you're really lucky, you really can't catch a good hard identity in regards to Santa Claus being real by dropping off Christmas gifts underneath a Christmas tree and then munching all those cookies and milk as fast as you can. As far as we know, it probably could just be a mailman that breaks into the house and just drops off all those Christmas presents off. We don't know. And of course, there's always the stories about the elves, obviously, I have yet to see a real life elf, Obviously, they're those dwarf-like figures, obviously. They have those weird ears, obviously, like those parts of it, like pointing out, stuff like that. And it had those hats very similar to Santa Claus, but only green. I have yet to see a real elf on planet Earth like that, just only in the movies or something like that. And that's another reason why this mystery of Santa Claus is so unique, because obviously, just like we don't know if Santa Claus is real, because we have yet to see somebody with ears like that, or maybe just like the stature or something like that, we don't even know if elves are real as well. And of course, obviously, he rides on a real sleigh as well, and obviously he has his big bag of Christmas presents behind him, and of course, right at the front of it, he has all these reindeers, obviously, all those reindeers with those, like big red noses on them, obviously glowing whenever they're at night, and obviously stuff like that, just to guide him to everywhere he needs to go, obviously, obviously, that's also another thing as well. If we don't know if Santa's real, how do we know if there's an actual reindeer as well? I mean, we can count on like ponies and all that stuff like that. I've yet to see a real life pony with a real horn on top of his nose or something like that. I mean, God knows when we're going to see something like that. But that just plays into the role of the reindeers as well. I mean, obviously it's fun hearing those songs like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or something like that. But how do we know if Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer even exists himself if we don't know if Santa Claus exists? I mean, come on. And of course, in regards to how big Santa Claus is as well, how do we know if he's even able to get down a chimney that fast? I mean, obviously, like, if he's even able to get down a chimney at all. Because, let's say, there's like a fireplace that's underneath that thing. He's gonna land on a real hot fire. And also, because of his size, he might get stuck in there as well. And also, once he has to get out of there before, anybody really finds out that he's even in there, he might just go up there like right quick, how is he able to even get back up there? I mean, I just really want to know how he's able to really go down a chimney for somebody that size and be able to get back up there without maybe, just walking out, maybe just getting a ladder and climbing back up on top of the roof, so that way he can get back to his sleigh and really whip on his reindeer to get him to the next house. I mean, that's just part of the mystery. I'm not ranting here. Obviously, we all know Christmas is obviously that great time of the year in which everybody celebrates the true meaning of the holiday spirit and just celebrate the end of another great year. But again, like Santa Claus is obviously a real origin story that plays a real role in it. Obviously, again, if you are good, you get your Christmas presents. If not, you're naughty. But again, we don't know if that's really the case because we don't know if we are doing enough to get on Santa's good list, obviously. And of course, that also points in the story as to why we don't really know if Santa Claus really does exist and whether or not there is a Santa's village in the North Pole. I mean, as far as I know, looking up on Google, the probable origin in regards to Santa's village is somewhere all the way in Finland, and even then, that's not really the kind of Santa's village that we really think about, obviously. But again, this is just a mystery that plays out for such a long time, fantasizing whether or not we are able to catch Santa Claus, because obviously he is a very spiritual and very, very fun figure. But again, that's if he is real, not just somebody that dresses up as one. I love Christmas. I really love hearing a lot of stories about Christmas time, obviously. I enjoy speaking to people about Christmas and really just getting to celebrate the holiday spirit with everybody. And of course, we will indulge on our Santa stories. I mean, I know that there's a real belief that Santa Claus is real, and I definitely hope that at some point, maybe before I die, that we finally get actual proof that Santa Claus, as well as his village, as well as all the elves and reindeers that he works with, is real. But until then, it's going to be very hard to be able to do that without finding like any real footage or actual evidence of that. Again, I'm not trying to end up on a naughty list or something like that by making this video. I'm just wanting to talk about this because I know Santa Claus is probably somewhere out there, obviously, and of course I know we all want him to be real, and trust me, I'm one of those people as well. And so obviously, if you're wanting to be on his good list, just do everything that you gotta do right. And obviously, as I said before, the only real evidence that we have, like I said before, is that the cookies and the milk on the table, they're all completely gone. And then obviously, the Christmas tree is filled up with Christmas trees by the time you wake up on Christmas Day. Obviously, those are the only real evidence that we have that Santa might possibly be real. Outside of that, I don't know. But then again, it's still a very fun time during the holidays. Christmas is really the day that punctuates it all. And obviously, if you really want to have that real spirit of having good Christmas presents, just be good 364 days a year. And of course, celebrate Christmas Day to the best of your ability. Celebrate with your family and friends. Have a lot of fun. Because I'm sure that's exactly what Santa Claus will obviously want you to do. And maybe if you do that, you might just end up avoiding being put on his naughty list. Especially if you don't know whether or not he really is real. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this video. This is just a little bit of a mystery video that I want to talk about because even though we all know that Christmas is a very fun holiday, there's still a real mystery in regards to whether or not Santa Claus really does exist, along with his village. So I'd really like to hear from you. Outside of what I've pointed here in regards to potential evidence, what do you think about this whole mystery? Is there really a Santa's village at the North Pole? And do you believe that Santa Claus is real? And if you want to exclude all of that, what do you think Christmas really is about in your opinion? Feel free to let me know down in the comments below, and I'll be more than interested in hearing your opinions about it. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. Comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's blogs, projects, or challenges, you name it, leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to make them. As always, follow me on my social media, all the links are in the description below. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you're having another great day. As always, I hope to see you all again in another video very soon. Enjoy your Christmas day next Monday, and most importantly, have another great day.